I meant to edit the thumbnail, not this. Doesn't look too bad, does it? There's a few things back there, but this is pretty clean. Yep, I'm gonna be cooking myself some food. Last time I cooked and talked, took a little bit longer for me to get my thoughts out. I had to think a little bit harder. Try a little better this time. Make one more adjustment to the camera. I think that looks good. Here, let's that's not ready. I'm a mess. Alright. Oh, here it is. Looking for a stool. I have to sit when I'm cutting vegetables. Let's get talking. Want to talk about the movie Crazy Rich Asians. Just went and saw it for the second time. It's a really good movie. It makes you cry. There's going to be spoilers. Start with that and work our way into the bowl. I also want to talk about families, and I'm kind of sort of crying right now from the movie. One of the big themes in the film over there is how they are very much so other way around. Over here, individual happiness. Over there in China and like Singapore, family. What the family wants. And that is one of the great things about their culture. According to my mom. I don't know a whole lot about their culture, but she says that's a good thing, and family is a good thing. The not so good thing is it's family. You do what the family wants. There are several points where this is made evident, where Nick's mother is basically, kind of trying to push Rachel away, saying, "You'll never be enough for my son." Even the grandmother, there's a point where they find out. By the way, if you haven't seen the film, shut this video down this instant and go watch it. Wow, actually, I really love this angle. That's good. I love being able to see myself up there. Anyway, there's a point where like I mentioned, there's dumpling scene, and the grandma says to her stepdaughter, which is Nick's mom, "Did you make those dumplings? You've lost your touch." And the whole point of that, but then there's an even bigger point where they hired a private investigator. They didn't have the right to, but they did, and parents claim they had every right, mother and grandmother. You don't see the dad throughout this whole film. He's away for business. But when they hired the private investigator, they found out that Rachel's father didn't die, but her mom ended up having an affair. And later on, we find out that that was because her husband was mean and beat her, and so she fell in love with an old college classmate and got pregnant, and then ran away to have Rachel because she was afraid that her husband would kill her. So, back to the scene where we're finding out that Rachel didn't tell the truth, which she did tell the truth, she just didn't know about it. And Rachel basically says, "I don't want to be part of your family," and runs away. And then Nick calls after her, starts to go after her, and his grandmother takes his hand and says, "Don't go after her," and basically shame this family. If you go, you can never come back. And his mom kind of sort of agrees too, and then he goes running after her, and the grandma says, this is all your fault. You should have never let him stay away for so long. That's the not so good side of it. Now, on our side, we're about individual happiness and people being nice families together. I gotta remind myself that we're actually not that way. I gotta remind myself it just feels really slippery, this cutting board. I'm gonna try something. Gotta remind yourself that it's not quite that way. I live in a Mormon bubble, so that's a little better. I would just use the green cutting board, but it's got so many scratches in it, I'm gonna phase it out. So yes, I would, I'm hungry. I would, gotta remind you tonight, my mom, because in the film, it's big on, over there, they're big on family. You gotta build the family dynasty, or we never want to speak to you again. And over here, it's me, me, me. That's what they make it out to be, which, sadly, it is. And for the first time ever, I'm going to actually go on a trip. Not like right now, but at some point, I'll get this on my mission, thankfully. But I want to go somewhere and spend a decent amount of time somewhere so I can see that me, me, me. Because when I got my first, what I would call real job at Lucy's Pizza, it was a great job. A lot of people swore there. I didn't say anything about it. I'm an introvert. I don't confront my problems. And kind of sort of got to me in ways that I don't like. I mean, I started thinking it, or every once in a while I will say it when nobody else is around. That's for another time, but it was kind of a shock, like, wow, people swear around here? I didn't say that out loud. I was very nice and kind and polite, and, and the more time I've spent, the more I've seen, wow, things have changed. People have gotten a little bit ruder around here, but also it's not as perfect, happy bubble as I thought it was. I'm going to do this again. So I've got to remind myself of that. And so I want to say this is something that I really, really learned while I was, when I had my first and only relationship. I learned about finding the happy middle. There's extremes, and you gotta kind of sort of be somewhere in the middle. A good example of this from my relationship would be, I was very, very logical, and so she kind of asked about holding hands, and I kind of said no. I don't remember if I gave the whole explanation or not, but in my mind, it's possibility that I could fall in love with her even more, and then not want to go on my mission, and I won't go, and that's actually not the best thing to be thinking or doing. Do I want this big in my salad? I think I just cut too thick of a... Yeah, I know what I did. This is gonna come back to haunt me. I need another cutting board. No, I haven't. I need another cutting board. I had two. Cabbage is on the other one. So, you guys can barely see. I'm gonna tilt you down more. Cooking is probably more interesting than my face. But, so, yeah, don't hold hands, but I quickly learned that's not actually a bad thing. Well, there is a possibility that could happen. I'm not going to deny that. It's not very likely that just from holding hands. It's a lot of all of these little things. This is not working out as great as I thought. But yeah, it's... it's a lot of little things that would, get you to fall in love more and not want to leave for a mission. It's all those little things. And so I changed from that, but you do have to find the middle. Because then also, the other extreme is just, full on inappropriate things that people shouldn't do when they're not married together. And so, yeah, it's not, so just holding hands, that's fine. There is the other extreme of it, and in this case, we really need to. As I think about it, I've seen cases on the internet of me, and, that's totally a thing that I've kind of forgotten about because I'm in Happy Mormon bubble. So we need to find a balance between family and individual happiness. We gotta do stuff that will please the family, unless it's like stupid, extreme stuff, Like, in the case of this film, marrying who grandma wants, or Ama, I think is what they say. No, don't do that. Throw away your life doing that. But then, trying to think of an example of the other way, well, yeah, but, becoming just that is like strong. There was drinking, but becoming this person that's like a not so great low life, always drunk, yeah, you don't want to do that. Don't waste your, family doesn't want you to waste your life away playing video games. Well, don't. Unless you can make a career out of it, that's a thing now. Sure, maybe pursue that if it really makes you happy, but you gotta find some time for some family stuff, and you gotta find some time for your own individual happiness as well. There's gotta be some of both, because we need both. God structured it that way. And so, have some of the familyness of China, but also some of the individual happiness over here. There are points, like, if your dad wants you to run the family oil business or whatever, and you don't want to, don't. But also take time to respect some of the family stuff and some of the things that your family's saying, and maybe some of the things they want you to do. Education, those are good things. It's different for every scenario. But we really need to find happy middle, a balance, which Christian and Mormons do. Not perfect, but that's one of our big focuses, is family, but also individual happiness. So don't run your father's oil company just because he wants you to. But also, don't just turn away from everything that your family says, because they do have some things. There is some truth. Your parents are older than you, even if they're not very good, or what you would say, piece of trash. I don't know. They do have some years and some wisdom behind them, so don't throw it all away. What else? So yeah, we need to find a happy middle, and families, if you want to get to the highest degree of glory in heaven, you gotta have a family. I don't know, everything about that. I'm not like a gospel expert. Many of my friends are more knowledgeable than I am. I'm happy to admit that. I'll share what I know, And if I say something wrong, I'll be happy to eat my words and correct myself. But yeah, it's something God has structured so that we can get to be in heaven. It's a very, very important thing. We believe in Heavenly Father and Heavenly Mother. And they, created beings to populate the earth. They gave intelligences bodies. That's kind of for another topic, but for us, it's a very, very, very important thing that we believe in and we hold to. And so we're gonna stick to that. Now, let's kind of run out of thoughts for that part. If you guys, leave comments below what your thoughts on this are, what you're thinking. But we'll move on to, money. That's a big point of this film is... Oh. Stove decided to turn on and cool off the oven. It's a little bit warm. I think someone cooked something in there. So, money. We haven't had a lot of money. But something interesting, one of my friends pointed out that he couldn't really tell. I mean, there's a nice big TV over there, a lot of other decent stuff around here. And, we've got an induction stove. That thing is amazing. We have solar panels on our house. Although that one's a little bit easier because it's practically free. Down here in where we are in Utah, basically they say how much are you charged, how much are you being, or how are you paying for your day. That's how much you're going to pay per month towards the financing option for your solar panels, and then we'll also factor in that meter fee because you pay a little bit to have a special meter that lets the power run backwards. Otherwise, it would just be going up and you'd charge for the solar power that you generated. And we're using the grid basically as our solar battery. This kind of feels big. So, but if you're saving, can afford expensive things. Look at my Moto 360 second generation. I think I paid $100 for it about. But normally worth like $350 or something. Yeah, I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller. So yeah, $350, but they have lots of rich stuff in the film. A lot of it. And all these, there's lavish parties and things. Where am I going with these thoughts? I'm lost, but I'm also cooking. I'm also thinking about how I want to make this salad. I had some thoughts and now they're gone. Oh, I guess I can say a little more of the film because it's very touching. The wedding scene kind of in the middle. But also, at the end, when she has his mom come to a mahjong parlor, play a game of mahjong, and she ends up winning, which is kind of sort of symbolic. And I love the audio in that scene too. They did a really good job of having all the sounds of the mahjong tiles being shuffled around and stuff. It really got you in the environment. But basically, Rachel ends up saying that she loves Nick enough that she said no to his marriage proposal because she didn't want him to lose his mom again. Because his mom, who wasn't the choice of Grandma, and it took many years for Grandma to accept her, she let Grandma raise Nick so that he would be the favorite when he was very young. And so he didn't really have his mom growing up. But this is a big spoiler. End of the film. Nick's mom comes around and basically says, or she doesn't basically say, but she gives Nick the ring that her husband went and had made. Because, so Grandma wouldn't give Nick's father the family ring. So he went and had one made. And now Nick's mom is giving him that ring so he can propose to Ray last minute before she goes back home. Making me cry. So there was a little bit of coming around. There was kind of sort of finding the happy middle. Sort of. Not completely. But that's a big thing that we need more of a push for. There's a certain kind of happiness that comes from families being together and really truly looking after each other. Really truly being concerned for happiness. As far as Rachel goes, she's not a me person. But her mom, there's one point where early on in the film when she first meets Nick's mom, and Rachel says she's an economics professor, Nick's mom says, "So, your mom must be proud of you." Well, she knows that I'm very passionate about it, and she's been supportive of that. And then, of course, Nick's mom comes and says, very American. But I think that right there is very good. That's a kind of sort of example of happy middle, just a little bit. Because her mom was supportive, but it wasn't me. They had a good love relationship, her and her mom. She didn't... Me would, to me, sounds a little more like, I want to do this when I grow up. My parents don't want me to do that. I'm going to do that and just completely disconnect and take everything in. Or maybe in some points, the parents are like, my child is very so self-centered, and I don't like that, but I really love my child so much that I'm just going to give in and say, okay. That's a way to raise a brat. That's a way to raise somebody that, I'm not going to say language, but, a lot of people would say they're not very great people. And it's kind of sort of true. But then also, I just realized a good term for the Chinese side, maybe it's not perfect, but a good term is helicopter parent. They try so hard to shape their children. There's a part where she's eating dinner with her friend Pingling and her family. And Pingling's two younger sisters, they look like twins, I think. They're probably like 5 or so. Everybody's having like fancy Chinese food and they're having some, chicken nuggets. And they're like, Dad, can we go play trampoline? And he says, but you haven't even finished eating your nuggets. And it boils down to, do you want to, there's a lot of starving kids over in America. Funny joke. But do you want to look like, and he points to Rachel. She's thin and skinny, and they're like, no. And they go back to eating their nuggets. So over there, it's kind of sort of, you could say, helicopter parenting. Being really controlling, making sure that your children are, and it's not, I wouldn't say it's not completely helicopter parent, because Nick and a lot of the people in the story were able to hold their own, but it's that direction of choosing their covering over them in a second, causing, problems, because if they truly were a helicopter parent, Nick wouldn't be the way he is. Thankfully, he is that. Really good film. Lettuce knife. It's got a serrated edge to aid in cutting. Made of plastic so that the metal doesn't get to the lettuce when it's being cut and cause it to brown quicker. There's already a little bit of browning on the bottom here. I'm just going to go right in. Take out that little section there. Give ourselves some lettuce for this salad. Probably going to change the name of the video too after it's done. Funny, they only give you like 60 characters when you're typing out some video title for a live stream. If you're uploading a video or like renaming a video on your phone, they give you 100 characters. On the computer, it's unlimited. Why? It should just be unlimited. I mean, shorter video titles are better. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And I try and get my point across short. I'm not great at it, but I do try that. You know what? I'm going to cut the stream here. I'm pretty much done with my thoughts about the film. It's a great movie. I highly recommend that you guys go see it. Makes me cry. But big point, big takeaway. We all need to work to find the happy middle. If you're not very close to your parents, it's different for every scenario. So this is kind of blanket term, so maybe this isn't for you. But I would say try and get a little bit closer to your family if possible, while also still keeping some of your individual happiness and your choices. You could say a lot of parents pick what they feel is best for their son, but they don't really know their son or their daughter, and so they're not picking what's best for them. In some cases that's true, but a little bit of both. Just try and get closer to your family while also keeping your own individual happiness. Also look to realize where maybe, look and see if you can identify where maybe your family's being a little bit too harsh and strong, but then also look where maybe you're being a little bit too self-centered and harsh and strong. Find pieces of both and then work your way towards the middle. That's going to lead to a lot happier times, especially in today's day and age. Anyways, if I have more thoughts, they'll pop up in another video. I'm going to cut this stream here, and I'm going to come back and finish the salad live stream, and you'll see where I go with this.